On this week's episode of Niners Unplugged, we've got a pretty striking's got to be the right word, 986, which I'm really excited to go through. But before we get to that, a few of you may have noticed that I haven't appeared on the last episodes of Niners Unplugged, and actually Annabelle has stepped in. So what happened is I had a couple of major surgeries, and quite frankly, in the amount of pain that I was in, I needed that time off, which I'm still in now. So I won't necessarily be fully back, but I'm coming back for this episode anyway. But first things first, I just want to say a big thank you to Annabelle for having taken over for that period of time. She got thrown in completely at the deep end. We had a choice as to whether we stop doing them entirely until I get better, or we keep something out there to keep you guys entertained. So yeah, huge thank you to her, who really jumped into the deep end on a subject matter that was very new to her. And she may well be back for a few more episodes, depending on the levels of pain I'm in and how far along I am in my recovery. So anyway, that's the explanation for that. So let's bring in Gary, who's the owner of the 986, to kind of talk about the car. So dude, thank you so much for bringing it over.
A pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, I saw it on social media, and I mean, you can't not see it because the color is just so stunning.
And it's, that's what attracted me to the car ultimately.
Yeah.
I started looking around for them, and I broke every rule in the car buyer's handbook.
Did you?
I didn't. As soon as I saw the colour, I was like, I've got to have this car.
So were you looking specifically for a Porsche?
No.
Or were you just saw a colour and it just happened to be a Porsche?
So the whole situation presented completely by accident.
Okay.
I'm born and raised in Essex.
Yeah.
I was always a Ford man. My dad used to drive Ford Sierras and stuff like that, and I was brought up with Fords. And my first what I call a proper car was an old Mark II XR2, and I was always into Fords. And I acquired a Mark VII, I think it is, Fiesta ST from my neighbour. He gave it to me for a really good price, and I enjoyed that. It was a really low mileage example, and the problem I found with that was that I found myself reluctant to use it because the mileage was so low. The value in that car was in its mileage, its condition, and I was like, this isn't an enjoyable kind of ownership experience, because I found myself reluctant to use it.
Yeah, it felt. Would I hazard to say that it felt like the car owned you, not the other way around?
Absolutely that. And every time there was an event or I was going to go anywhere, I'd be watching the mileage, and I just wasn't enjoying it. And then a really good mate of mine said, I'm going to get a second car, come with me and have a look at a few cars. And the car he was looking at was a BMW Z3.
Okay.
So I went with him.
And, really cool car.
Yeah.
I sat in one of those, I sat in one of those years ago, and the striking thing for me was just, it looks like a tiny little nugget of a car, great size. Yeah. But then you get into it and the length of the bonnet just never ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive long bonnet. So I drove that, and the roof was back. It was a nice day, and I thought, this is nice. This is a driving experience. This is nice. But as nice as those Z3s are, I wasn't immediately kind of drawn to those. So I started then looking around at what else was available in that kind of price point, and I could not believe how cheap these Boxsters were. So then I started doing a little bit more research around the model and the marque and what was available and what the different types of Boxster that you can get. And then my search led me to this one, which was very local. It's just down the road in Clacton, so
perfect.
I had a look at it, and like I say, the deal was almost done before I rocked up.
Because the colour was
because of the colour, yeah.
So we're on the subject of the colour, so let's talk about it. I mean, for me, this colour reminds me of Wimbledon green, which is a 964 colour from the 1990s.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's a variation of that, in the same way that Ruby Stone from the 964 era has now become Ruby Star.
Yeah.
So what is the official name of this colour?
So this is Ocean Jade Metallic.
Ocean Jade Metallic. That's such a gorgeous name.
Really is.
Yeah.
I think they did an Ocean Blue Metallic as well, which was a lot darker. This was the Ocean Jade. On the logbook, it just says turquoise.
Yeah. And I mean, it is a beautiful turquoise with a heavy metallic flake.
Yeah. I stand to be corrected. I think it was first introduced on the 964.
Yeah.
And then it went over to these early Boxsters.
Yeah, so maybe it's a variation of that Wimbledon green.
Yeah.
There was this very similar turquoise.
I think it's I think it remains as a paint to sample option these days, because I think there was a period of time where colour wasn't very cool, which I can't relate to at all, but everything seemed to be silver and black.
This is the thing, you know, what's called, I've got to be honest, like you look at a lot of Porsches of this generation, Boxers or 911s, and a lot of them are Bolsol black and seal grey. And they're great colours, you know, they look very elegant and so on, but you don't see many bright colours.
No.
There's a Porsche specialist, sorry, I'm making me giggle, because Biscuit has joined us for today's episode, and yeah, he clearly wants a collar from Tom. So what's called, there was I remember back in the day when there was a Porsche magazine, and in the back of the Porsche magazine they would always have these adverts from this specific Porsche dealer, and I always thought to myself, it's strange that they don't go for a full color advert. And then they have all the cars listed. So there'd be like 25 cars with the same shot, you know, just listed in rows and rows on this one page of the magazine. And then in the corner of it, I go, actually, no, that is color. There's a red one, or there's a blue one, or whatever it is. And it was always the same, because they would specialize in 996s, 997s, and basically most of them were Bolsol black and seal grey. So yeah, this color is really something quite special.
Yeah.
How many other cars have you seen in this color which are Boxsters? Would you know exist?
I haven't seen another. I haven't seen in the flesh. I haven't seen another Boxster in this colour.
Yeah.
At Megaphonics this year, there was a lovely 993 Targa.
Yeah.
In this colour, and I've seen a beautiful 993 Turbo in this colour.
So you came to Megaphonics?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. That's great.
It was a hell of a day. It was really,
I appreciate the support.
It was a really special day.
I hope the traffic wasn't too bad. It was something that really we struggled with this year, but you know what's called, we do the best that we can, and we're learning from it, and we've got lots of plans to sort that out.
Part of the experience. You're surrounded by lovely cars. There's plenty to look at.
Well, you're very kind. You know,
no dramas for me.
You're very kind. But yeah, okay, so that's cool. So you have seen a few. Okay.
Yeah. There's a few out there. There's not many. I don't understand why you wouldn't want a colour like that. But
I think that there's one, the colour is awesome and it really pops, but it's a colour to live with.
Yeah.
You know, as a colour to live with, you can't be shy in a car like this. No. Do you ever feel a little bit self-conscious?
I guess I do, but you know, I'm a middle-aged bloke driving around in a Porsche Boxster.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm gonna, really the colour is the last of my worries if I'm doing that. Yeah. But you know what, I love colour. I love bold kind of statements.
So do I. Absolutely. I think, I mean, like what's called, it's an awesome colour. I love the statement of it, and it's a proud colour.
Yeah.
It's not something that's trying to be subtle or under the radar.
Yeah.
It's just a very proud colour.
Yeah.
And yet, even though it's proud, there is an elegance to it, that turquoise, that sheen. No, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Certain colours can complement certain cars. I think
they do.
You know, this might not suit, you know, maybe a bigger car or
that's a good point.
Or a car. I don't know, but I just think for me personally, the colour really complements the
curves,
the lines
the
and the curves of this particular car.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love it. Really, really cool. Okay, and do you ever worry or have concerns about if you ever need to do some paint work about colour matching?
It was a concern, and funnily enough, when I bought the car, on this near side front wing, there was a little bit of damage just down the bottom here.
Okay.
And either someone with a tow bar had reversed into the car or the car had been driven into a tow bar, but the bumper itself wasn't damaged, but there was like a bullseye in the paint. So when I bought it, I knew that it was going to need some paint doing. And, you know, it's an old car that ultimately was looked after on a budget for its whole life. It's never been what I would call, it's never been part of a collection. It's never been cherished, you know. So I went to a local paint guy to me in Colchester, and he's a lovely guy, and he said, I don't think it'll be a problem at all. So this wing and the bumper has actually been repainted and blown in along this side. And I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Thank you so much for bringing this all the way from Colchester, because that is a long way to go. No, and I really appreciate it.
No problem. Like I say, thanks for the opportunity. I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be here doing this.
Oh, well, that's really sweet. But you know, in what's called, I'm a Porsche guy. We're Porsche people, but actually, genuinely speaking, what I really am about, or what I really I find interesting is people which are passionate about whatever the subject matter is. When someone's really enthusiastic or really passionate about it, about a subject, even if it's something you're not necessarily interested, it can be something that what's it called, that becomes infectious. For example, there was I'm trying to think what it was. There was someone who was talking to me about topiary the other day. I've got no interest in topiary, shaping bushes, right? But they was, and I didn't even know that word topiary existed until I spoke to them. But they were so passionate about that subject matter that ultimately, I became interested and fascinated by it. And so actually, I'm a Porsche guy, but generally speaking, I'm a car guy. And if I meet someone who's got a huge amount of enthusiasm for a product, it doesn't matter to me whether it's a Citroen Saxo or what's called a 917 LH, the one we had in the back at Megaphonics. The fact of the matter is I'm just interested in people which are passionate about cars, because I'm also interested in cars. Let alone fucking topiary.
Well, I'm now interested to see whether next time I come, whether there's going to be like a Black Betty moulded into a bush or something like that.
I think I was interested in the conversation.
There's mileage there.
Yeah. No, but I think that for me, the whole thing about Porsche is that it's an inclusive brand. It's not an exclusive one. You get a lot of brands like Ferrari, Lamborghinis, you've got minimum 5 figures to get into them. And as a result, you get a certain amount of snobism and so on and so forth. But because Porsche, there's I had an 18-year-old come up to me a few years ago and he said, Frank, I've been coming to the event, I've been coming to Megaphonics for the last 5 years. I'm 18 years old. I've just bought my first car. It's a Porsche 924 that I bought for $2,000. And his enthusiasm level, and the car is an awesome car. It's a Porsche. They're fucking all great, whichever one you buy. And it's wonderful to be part of a community where you get everything from a 924 all the way up to, what's called one of our collectors, 917 LH, which is a £35 million car. So for me, it's really about the enthusiasm for the car and the attitude towards it. And straight away when we were talking just now, the thing that you said which really resonated with me was actually I was looking for a car that I could own, not that owned me. And what this Boxster represented, from what you were saying, if I get this right, is that it represented a car that you could love and enjoy, and not a car that would end up getting caught in the garage, gathering dust, with low mileage.
Yeah, totally. And as cheesy as it sounds, it was a car that was right on the cusp, I felt. The previous owner, who's become a really good friend, he done quite a lot to kind of start the resurrection process of this car. But when he bought it, it was filled with water. The drain holes were all blocked.
Really?
And it had been maintained to a point, but really on a shoestring budget. And when I bought it, it was still at that tipping point where somebody could have looked at this car and gone, there's bodywork damage, it's not that tidy. Do you know what, let's scrap it, break it for parts, whatever. But I think that's my personal opinion. But I thought I think it's worth a little bit of an investment of time and love. And it drove really well.
I mean, fundamentally, they're great cars to drive, absolutely balanced. And when you saw the colour, I mean, you said it yourself. You haven't seen another one like that. So full credit to you for resurrecting something that was so rare.
And it was, it's. Then started this little project. I was like, well, I love personalisation.
Okay.
I think some people can get quite, especially with kind of Porsches and particularly high-end Porsches, saying, whoa, don't touch that. It's Porsche. What are you doing? But I think you should. There's nothing wrong in doing that. You should do that. This personalisation for me is part of the ownership experience and part of the journey. So I immediately, as soon as I got it, I started doing a few mechanical bits that needed doing. Then my attention started to turn to the aesthetics and what I could change subtly to personalise the car and kind of make it mine.
Perfect. So let's go through it. So mechanically, you got the car. We've already talked that you did some paint work. What have you done mechanically to the car?
So mechanically,
should we talk suspension and running gear, that kind of stuff?
Suspension is stock.
Suspension.
It's probably a little bit lofty for my liking. And certainly, as part of the project, I intend to do a refresh. It rides quite nicely, but it's probably getting to the point now where it needs a refresh, and I'll drop it down a little bit when I do that.
Nice.
Not really to enhance performance. My motivation would just be the aesthetic of the car, because for me, as bizarre as it sounds, the performance element wasn't, when I settled on a Boxster, the performance element was secondary.
Really? But they're incredible round corners.
So
the mid, the balance of them is absolutely brilliant. And it's such a great size.
Yeah.
Nimble, perfect.
And it drives beautifully, and it has got a turn of speed, but this is a really early car. So this was manufactured 97.
Okay.
It was manufactured in Germany, but it's the early 2.5. And quite a few people, when I started researching them and looking at them, people were like, don't bother with that, get a 3.2S. And I'm not dissing them, they're cool cars, you know, but the difference for me, like a car has an identity, and the identity of a Boxster is like a bit of a boulevard kind of cruiser. Really good. It's so much load space in this thing. It's really good for road trips and stuff like that. So,
because you've got the front load space and the bonnet.
Yeah.
The bonnet. Can we pop that open? Have a quick look?
Yeah.
May I?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I do know what I'm doing. I did find. I did find the. I popped the boot as well. I did find the latches. Nice. So yeah, you've got a good amount of space there.
Yeah.
Do you know what? A lot of people are like, oh, a sports car, I bet that's not very practical. It's like, well, first of all, like it's a sports car, so I'm not buying for practicality. But second of all, they are practical cars.
So incredibly practical,
Yeah?
I've done, with my mate who I went to view that Z3 with, he ended up buying a Z4, and we did like a tour around Wales this summer.
Nice.
Fantastic trip, you know, and it was absolutely perfect for that.
How many days?
It was 3 nights, 4 days.
Just the two of you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Just two
so
cars.
No one's slowing you down?
No, went right across to the coast, all the way up, and then back down. Finished in Cardiff, stayed overnight in Cardiff, and then
really nice.
Came home. It was amazing. I was gonna do Europe, but where it needed some mechanical stuff ironing out. I've changed, you know, getting back to the mechanical stuff I've done. I had to change, you know, the MAF sensor, the O2 sensor, the lambda sensor. It was. I think all the sensors have been kind of replaced from, you know, car parts, and they weren't official parts, and I don't think it didn't like it very much. So it needed some investment to get it running right. It had an MOT fail for emissions, so I had to do the cat converters. So I've got the garage that looks after it for me. They supply stainless catalytic converters. Nice. So I've got a set of those on there.
Stainless cat converters.
Yeah.
So, and is the exhaust system completely standard, or have you changed it?
No. So when I got the car, it had what I can only describe as a hateful aftermarket exhaust on it. Yeah. So it was a twin pipe. It was an eBay special. It's like a Toyo or something, and I've never experienced drone like it. It was awful.
And that didn't put you off? Well, you said the car was sold before you got there, right?
Yes, totally. So, you know, so I immediately realised it droned. So it was straight away, it was on my radar to do something with the exhaust. And the other thing I didn't like about the exhaust was that it was a twin pipe.
Okay.
And they look super cool on the right car. So the Boxster S will come with a twin pipe. So it almost felt like somebody put the twin pipe on there to almost give the impression it's an S.
Right,
and I'm not a fan of that. It's unapologetically just a 2.5 Boxster. So I wanted to replace the pipe with something that was closer to stock.
Yeah. I think that's the impression I get with this car, generally speaking, is that it owns itself.
Yeah.
It is proud to be what it is. I mean, you can't not be proud with a colour like that.
Yeah.
But like, what's it called? On top of that, like, there's something very simple about a central exhaust and just that one tip.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it looks great. So what is the exhaust system for those who are out there who think of doing the upgrade?
Pipe Performance.
Performance.
Yeah, Pipe Performance look after it for me.
They're great guys.
Lovely guys.
So they were trading at
Chris and Adam and the team have done hours and hours on this car. So they've done all the mechanical stuff for me.
Nice.
So it's their cat converters on it.
Okay.
And then it's a Dansk back box.
Okay, super. Yeah, because it sounded good. It sounded fruity when it came in. It had a bit more of a low baritone kind of note to it. Yeah.
It's exactly, and there's still a little bit of drone, but in a very small rev range, so you can very easily drive around it, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas before, it just droned. It was just horrific.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what that's like. This car over here has got an exhaust system. I won't mention the brand because I don't want to step on any toes, but it is a nightmare, and it sits at 70 miles an hour right in the rev range where and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't drive around it, but I can't justify the expenditure to replace the exhaust at the moment.
Yeah.
But it is certainly something that I want to do in the future. So I know exactly what you're talking about. There's nothing worse than a drone. It feels like it's like a drill in your skull. Yeah.
It was just relentless.
Yeah.
It was relentless, yeah.
So we talked about the exhaust system, we talked about the suspension. So for the suspension, what is the upgrade for this? Are you going to use lowering springs? Are you going to go full coilovers? What are your thoughts?
It's probably going to be governed a little bit by cost. So probably end up being lowering springs, but it all depends on, you know, if I start looking at the shock absorbers and they're tired, you know, I then kind of think, well, if you're going to do a job, you know.
Yeah.
So I may
whilst you're in there.
Whilst exactly that. So
that's such a dangerous phrase.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Whilst we're here, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, coilovers are, in terms of adjustability as well. You know,
true. I mean, you can tweak the ride height to absolute perfection as well.
I've got no intentions of kind of tracking it or anything. For me, it's not that type of car.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. Really cool. I mean, I was called one of the stories I love to bang on about is I used to do these drives, which I need to start up doing again. But it was basically leaving from Boxengasse, going off into Broadway, up in the Cotswolds, and there are some great roads around there. And there's this famous Fish Hill, which snakes up the hill, and it's 2 lanes as you're going up. And I was with a bunch of guys. There was a 996 turbo, and there was also a 986, and the 986, you could tell it had been tweaked. Like it was lowered, the stance was right, everything else. And through the conversation, it hadn't happened yet. But basically, as we were going up Fish Hill, I'm looking in my rearview mirror. I'm leading the pack, and I'm seeing him overtake a 996 turbo around the outside. You know, and I'm thinking, okay, there's more to this story. There's more to this guy than I think there is.
Yeah.
So we stopped for breakfast. We had this conversation, and sure enough, the guy had tweaked the car within an inch of its life. You know, and he was a big fan of the Nürburgring, so he'd been to the ring however many times. And it was a real case in point that sometimes it's not what you drive, and actually most of the time it isn't. It's how you drive it.
Yeah.
So I've got a soft spot for these cars after seeing that experience. Anyway, sorry, I've interrupted you. So we've, and how about anti-roll bars? Any plans to do anything with those, do you think?
Yeah, I'll probably take some advice. Once I'm under there, I kind of look at, because I think with suspension, sometimes it's a little bit pointless to do one thing and not the other. Yeah. So it would make sense that as and when the time comes to look at that, I take some advice and probably maybe do something with the anti-roll bars.
I think generally speaking, suspension is always something that people go for, but often anti-roll bars are overlooked. And actually they do make a very big difference. And often enough, actually, you can get a lot of your suspension, what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? A lot of your suspension benefits can happen at the roll bar before you even change the suspension itself. Because you're stiffening up the link between the two sides of the car. So actually that already has got an effect on the suspension itself. So I think the wider conversation of anti-roll bars is a critical thing to think about when you're thinking about suspension also.
I'd like to, as well, when we're there, I kind of want to play around with offsets a little bit. So I'd kind of like a little bit more kind of poke on the rear. The front isn't too bad, but I think it would really benefit just to bring these rears out a little bit.
Totally, because I think what happens when you bring these tyres out is you just get these beautiful curves. And then they kind of fall into themselves because the wheels are, so I think that will look awesome. A little bit lower, a little bit more spaced out, that'd be really cool. And so talk to me about the wheels. Are they Eaters?
These are HRE wheels.
They're HR wheels?
Yeah.
That's super nice.
And again, I was kind of a bit of a boyhood dream to have a really nice set of three-piece split rim wheels, but the BBS, the E52s, is it? You know, is that what they're called?
I think
the BBS split.
Yeah, the
E88.
that's it. I think they were E28s when they were mags.
They are, dream wheel, but very expensive.
So I always thought HREs were fucking expensive as it is.
Well, they are. And I got super lucky. So I started looking around at split rim wheels, and initially I was like, wow, they're out of reach. And when I got the car, it was just on the standard turbo, 17-inch turbo twists. And I started looking, and I saw these on good old Facebook Marketplace. And they were actually manufactured to go onto a 964 Carrera 2.
Interesting.
So I started chatting to the guy, and he was like, that they go on. I didn't use any spacers or anything like that. And then I started doing a bit of research. I wonder if they go on. And then as I was looking around, I saw quite a few 964s on 17-inch turbo twists.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I was like, well, surely, if the turbo twists are going on, I'm not the most mechanically minded fella, but surely they're going to fit. So
2 and 2 is going to make 4. Yeah.
So Grant, the guy I bought them from, was super patient, answered loads of questions.
Wait a minute, Grant, is that Cheeksy boy from up north? Grant Jackson?
Yes.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, he races a Cayman in the...
Yeah, so he owned a black 964. That's how I first met him.
That's what these...
Exactly. Suddenly the wheels are starting to... Oh my God. That's so funny. So we have a link through wheels.
Yeah. And
the Porsche world is a mad small little place.
Mad. And as you know, lovely guy.
Yeah, lovely guy.
Super patient with me. And he... So these are a half-inch wider than the turbo twists. And the offsets were very similar, but Grant had the wheels. He commissioned the wheels when HRE was kind of in its infancy, I believe.
I'm gonna. Sorry to interject, but I'm gonna embarrass myself probably here, right? Because I know a few things about a 964. It's where I started. I started off with a 964 that I bought for $7 grand because at the time nobody fucking wanted it.
Yeah.
And what's called I've been through a few 964s, and generally speaking, for a narrow body 964. You want about an 8-inch front with an ET52, and the rears are usually 10 with an ET of around 47.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's pretty much what these specs are.
Yeah, but I think you're pretty much spot on. Yeah, I think potentially they're 9-inch standard, so I think they might be 9.5.
Yeah.
So what I do know is that when I put the tyres on the wheels, they're the same size tyre, both ends that were on the original wheel. So there's a tiny little bit more stretch on the tyres because the wheels are a half-inch wider than standard.
So 225 and a 265?
Now you've asked me.
That's
a 205.
That's a 205.
205 on the front, and then 255 maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And it's a nice chunky sidewall.
Yeah, I've never been adverse to a bit of sidewall.
Yeah, no.
I know some people like really, but I think for me, because a lot of the driving I do is on road, the state of the roads, I'd sooner have a little bit of tyre to protect the wheel.
Really cool.
But you know, the wheels are literally Grant, when he sold his 964, he just kind of mothballed the wheels. So I've done nothing with them other than polish the living daylights out of them. I haven't refurbed them. They're probably due a refurb.
Hey, if they don't leak, don't touch them.
Yeah, they don't leak.
I remember a story with Grant. Oh my God. So we used to go to Spa and track the 964s. I mean, in those days, they were dirt cheap. If you threw one into a barrier, you call up Douglas Valley Breakers or Porsche Part, now called 9 Apart, and you grab a wing and you chuck it on the car. They literally were the Porsche nobody wanted, so you could just track these things. It didn't matter. But I remember Grant had one of these that was leaking like and it was driving it completely up the wall. And it got to the point where he got the wheel off, dismantled it inside his hotel room, and was put in black mastic to try and seal them up. So either way, whatever he's done, it's clearly worked, because here they are today. So don't fuck with them. No. I'm sure the mastic's perfect. Yeah,
they'll be fine. And I actually think the gold, whilst it's probably a slightly darker shade of gold than I'd choose, I'd probably go more kind of vice kind of gold, a little bit of a light shade. But for me, I think it complements the colour quite nicely. So.
Yeah, so do I. And as you say, like if they're not broke, there's no point fixing them yet. And maybe one day when you do come to refurbish them, that's the time to do it.
Yeah.
The person to speak to, if you haven't seen him before about this, is Elliot Voodoo Motorsports.
Okay.
And he's up the road from here. So he's probably about, I think he's St Albans way, I think. Yeah. Anyway, top tip for anyone who's got split rims. And he's like the boss when it comes to split rims. He's really, really good at them. That's what he does day in, day out. So I'd highly recommend giving him a whirl.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they look really cool.
I'm really pleased with them. Yeah. I'm really pleased with them.
And also they're going to be lighter, right?
Yeah. And what I've kind of a kind of like sub result of the modifications I've made is weight saving. Like I say, I didn't set out to save weight, but everything I've done to the car actually has dropped. So the exhaust is probably a little bit lighter than stock. the wheels are significantly lighter than stock, because you know, Grant chose these because he used to track his car an awful lot.
Yeah.
So he wanted a really lightweight wheel. So you know, reducing rolling resistance can only be a good thing, right?
Yeah.
I've done a centre console delete in there.
Should we talk about the inside then?
Yeah, let's.
Is there anything else to talk about mechanically?
No, it's standard engine. It's just, I just wanted to drive it as it was, enjoy it, kind of learn it a little bit, and then I'll see where. But I'll probably leave it stock.
I think that's really wise, because I think a lot of people, they get into a Porsche, they get into a car, and they start talking to other Porsche people, and they go, what should I do with it? What should I modify, blah, blah. And my advice has always been, get the car and just live with it.
Yeah.
You know, Annabelle's got her 356 over here, and it's been off the road for years. And there's all sorts of plans, you know, brewing. Yeah. But you know, the worst thing you can do is start spending money on shiny bits before you know that all your bits work. So I think that's really good. Yeah. It's a really good idea.
I wanted to be able to, and that's exactly what I wanted to have a little bit, because where I first got it, these problems kept kind of presenting, and you lose a bit of faith, you know. And I got to a point where I'd start the car and I was like, okay, the engine management light's going to come on. It's not a case of if, it's a case of when. But now I'm beyond that, and I've done a lot of miles this year, and it's, touch wood, it's running really, really nicely, and nice. I enjoy that. I really, really enjoy it.
Fantastic. So can we have a quick look at is there anything we can see of the engine?
No, nothing at all.
Can you show me? Because I don't know how to open these.
Yeah, no, it's
straight up.
So it's literally
so you have got tons of storage, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely loads.
So access is purely from underneath?
Yeah. Right. You can access it. There's like a
service hatch.
You have to put the roof into service mode, and then there's a plate that sits behind the seat. So if you want to do like the serpentine belt, you can access it from the interior. Just take a cover off and do the belt from that side. Most other things are done from underneath, and then if you need to go in from the top, it's a bit of a palaver. You put the roof into like a service mode and you lift the roof up.
Interesting. But yeah, there's tons of space.
But it's just, there's so much space. And obviously you do all your fluid checks and stuff from this little section here. Yeah,
it's lovely. Really nice. And you know what's called? It's clean all around here. Like it just looks right, proper. Yeah, really cool. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Right, let's talk about the interior.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were saying you did a center console delete?
Yeah. So it came with, a lot of people call them like GT3 center consoles, but I think Boxsters were actually spec'd without like a storage area in the center console. That was like an option that you spec'd, but this car was spec'd with that option, and it had like storage trays just below where the radio sits there. But where it's not my daily driver, I don't need storage. It was about aesthetic. So I thought I really loved the clean, and where I've got the body coloured trans tunnel there. Do
you mind if I take a seat?
No, feel free.
Thanks. I'm always paranoid we're getting into cars because I've got my Magpie biker wallet chain thing, and I'm always worried about the interiors as I get into them. So
I just wanted to open that dash out and let it kind of flow across the car.
So normally there would be something here that comes down,
exactly that,
right?
yeah.
Is that with the CD stackers and stuff?
Yeah, you can have CD trays, or you can just have storage trays, but I didn't need any of that. So I started, and again, probably naively, I was like, okay, well, if I'm getting rid of parts, surely that's going to be really cheap. And then when I started to look at how much centre console delete kit would cost from Porsche, it was like mind-boggling. It was like over £1,000, you know.
You're kidding, really?
And I was like, wow. Jeez. So again, I did a bit of online research, and I contacted a guy via YouTube who'd done a console delete, and he found a 3D printer. So he had a file for this panel. So I contacted him.
Great.
And he sent me the file. I then contacted a local guy who'd done 3D printing, and basically I've been able to achieve that. I fitted it all myself.
Nice.
And I think it cost me about £100 total for the part. I had a trimmer cover it in carpet. It comes with that panel there, that just in front of it.
This one here, the blacking panel.
I just rattle can that on.
If there are any 986 owners out there that want to do this delete, and you're right, it really does. It looks cool. It's nice to have that airy space.
Yeah. It just, for me, it allowed the dash just to flow a little bit.
It does. Well, it looks like it's floating, and it gives you a
Yeah.
little bit more space in the car that is going to be compact.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, what's called be sure to hit up Gary to find out where he got it from, to get the contact details, get in touch with the person that makes it.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Okay, and do you know what? The first thing I did when I got into the car, I was like, it feels like a glove. Like it's a nice. It's what's called the seat's got really good bolstering. It holds you in. It's got good support, and everything feels close to touch. All the controls are exactly where they should be.
Yeah.
And the size is the other thing. I'm used to, whenever I get into modern Porsches, they feel really big when you're inside them. Actually, I mean, they still feel like what's called you're cosseted, but they feel like they're big cars. Whereas this feels like a good size. I mean, it feels like an air-cooled car in terms of the size of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's super comfortable. It was spec with these sports seats, so that they do support nicely. They're super comfortable. Like I say, I went across. I was driving 4 or 5 hours a day across Wales, and no problems at all.
Porsches are great with their seats, aren't they?
It's just such a comfortable place to be.
And there's a really good level of patina here. What's called with the cracks in the leather. Well, they're not really cracks, but the stress marks in the leather. Especially on this side, it feels like it's got that right amount of just nicely aging.
Yeah. And I kind of like that about, I like the fact that the steering wheel's going. The steering wheel's going a little bit off colour.
Listen, I tend to, as people might guess, like old things. They just have a story. They've been somewhere. They've told a thing. Like for me, the best water-cooled car. One of the best water-cooled cars I've seen that I absolutely loved, I fell in love with, was a GT3 that has done most of its miles at the Nürburgring, because it had so many stories to tell. So I like, and that's a great episode on the Niners YouTube channel, on the Boxengasse YouTube channel, with Al Clark. God, I had a brain fart there for a moment. Sorry, with Al Clark. So I definitely recommend checking that episode out if you haven't already to hear about that. To hear about that one, but there's a lovely level of patina here, and of like what's called it's someone's enjoyed this. You can see it, you can feel it.
I mean, it's like a relatively low mileage car. It's done like 86,000 miles.
That's barely broken in for a Porsche, right?
But yeah, like I'm with you. I like. I mean, that gear stick's new. I put that on, but it had quite a few tech equipment options on this car. So it had the tech equipment gear knob on it. It's got the handbrake. It's got the body coloured trans tunnel there, and the roll hoops are body coloured as well, which I think is quite rare. Cool. But I like the way the colour flows through the car.
Yeah. No, I really like the body coloured sensor tunnel there. I think that's a really cool detail. That's really nice. Yeah, really nice. And the roll hoops, as you say, I think that's a really cool option. Yeah. No, really nice place to be. So talk to me about this gear knob.
So that was it's a company called Built by Basil.
Yeah.
Simon and his wife run the company. Again, I've only spoken to them kind of online, but just lovely people. And I contacted them, and I explained the colour of the car, and I said I love colour, and I want to carry the colour through the car. So I just said, I want something that's fairly out there. So he sent me some colour options that weren't yet on the website, and I was like, do you know what, I like that one. And it's almost like a bespoke design that he did.
Really nice.
It comes with the aluminium shaft and the fitting kit, and I was lucky because where this car had the tech equipment gear knob, the gator was separate. I think quite often in the 986s the gator goes into the gear knob, so if you change it, you have to buy yourself a new gator as well.
Right.
But that's the great factory gator that I was able just to fit the new shaft on, and then the knob just screws onto the top.
So it's got that OEM kind of feel.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's nice that it's got those elements of turquoise in it that kind of reflect the bodywork on the outside. And you can even though it's varnished, you can still feel what's called the different layers of wood.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Because that tactility and that appreciation for craftsmanship.
Yeah. I think he makes them. I might be wrong. I think he makes them out of like old skateboards.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
he gets the different layers of ply. I think he
cool.
creates like colour palettes from old skateboards, and then he turns them, and it's great.
I'll tell you what, if he does do that, he needs to use that in his marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, having that sat next to a skateboard in a nice reel or a photo, whatever.
I wouldn't imagine I've made that up.
Yeah.
I'm sure I must have read that somewhere.
Do you know what? If you have made that up, he's listening. He might be listening now, and he'll go, "That's a great idea."
Yeah, I should definitely do that. Yeah.
You should definitely coin that before he gets onto it. And the there's no better word to use for this, but the shaft is a nice piece of billet as well, isn't it?
It certainly is.
With the machining lines on it as well.
Yeah, it's just like a turned aluminium.
Yeah. Really nice.
And it's very clever how he does it, because the actual shaft that comes up from the linkages is like a rectangular shape in these cars.
Yeah.
So they manufacture, again, a 3D printed part to sit over that, and then that aluminium part goes onto it's a very clever the way.
Awesome.
But he does all, he does things for like PDK and Tiptronic cars that where you have to put. He does all of that. So
the shifting feels really nice, really positive. And I say that using my right arm because of my left shoulder is basically just for show at the moment while I recover from my operation. But it feels really positive.
It's had a clutch. About 3,000-4,000 miles ago, so it shifts not. And again, a lot of people will reference the length of the throw in these cars, and they say it's too long, but it just doesn't bother me, because for the type of driving that I do in it, it doesn't matter to me that it's quite a long throw.
So, genuinely speaking, I agree with you. A lot of people do talk about that, and actually, I think they're wrong. My humble opinion is that actually what's more important is accuracy of shift as opposed to length of shift. Because I've seen some short shift kits that indeed make the shift a lot shorter, but actually they become less accurate.
Yeah.
And certainly the last thing you want to do is pop into the wrong gearbags.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that I've heard people reference, but I just thought it just doesn't bother me in the slightest.
No. And these handles on the inside.
Yeah.
Are these factory?
Yeah, all standard. Standard door cards.
Yeah.
Again, it's I think you can option them with like speaker parts here, but this has just got the standard 2 speakers in the thing. It's had with a slight touch of modernity for the in-car entertainment. That's I was
going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's a Continental unit, but it looks period correct.
It does. It does.
And it connects to my phone, so I can use my phone for mapping, and it connects to that, so I can hear all of the commentary and that through the car.
Isn't it so cool how nowadays there's a market for making retro-looking stereos that have all the modern-day functionality of the modern stuff?
Yeah, I mean, Blaupunkt do some unbelievable stuff. They literally do recreations of 80s radios, but with modern-day technology. And then obviously you've got
Porsche's ones as well.
And no.
I think it's so cool. I love that there's enough demand for companies to re-look, and make old school, because there's so much that people are keeping these old cars on the road, so they need stereos, and so there is a business case for making retro-looking stereos. I think that's just
standalone stereos are soon going to be a thing of the past, aren't they? Because everything now is through like a TV screen, essentially.
Yeah, so. You're right. It's an iPad, isn't it? Really, pretty much. Yeah, super cool. Yeah, awesome. And one of the things that must be difficult, well, I would find difficult, is not trying to bring more of this colour inside the car, but then if you go too far, then it starts getting a bit chintzy.
It really does,
it's delicate, isn't it?
And I've really had to exercise some self-control there.
Yeah, because I'm looking at these door handles and I'm like that, and then I'm like, no.
Yeah. And I think I'm very lucky that, as standard, that trans tunnel was body coloured, because I think that flash of...
That's just enough.
That's just enough, and it complements the black dash interior. I've got, again, I think it was a spec'd option on this particular car, those aluminium dials, which again just brings a little bit more colour into the interior of the car. So the only thing I might consider doing is I'd quite like a Porsche design steering. I think you've got one on your 30th anniversary car.
Oh yeah.
I love the look of those steering wheels. So I think in the fullness of time, the only thing I might consider changing is the wheel. But again, I'm in no hurry to do that.
Sure. Yeah. No, awesome. Well, Gary, thank you so much for bringing the car in.
Pleasure.
It's been a real pleasure to get a 986 in. I've wanted to get one in for a while, and your car just completely popped, and I was like, Tom, we've got to get this in. I've missed doing these episodes. Annabelle's been great patching in, but I have missed doing them. And what a great car. I'm glad that I got to do this one and not Annabelle, because I've wanted to do a 986 for a while. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you, Frank.
No,
Cheers.
Cool.